Okay to go, Bill.
Okay, thank you. All right. Well, Bill Solomon, Special Cable Counsel for the City of Peabody, who and worked on this cable license renewal with Comcast, and I represent the city. And we're here today on a proceeding under the Cable Act, uh, and the informal process set out of the Cable Act, whereby the parties have negotiated a new cable TV license renewal, a 10-year proposed renewal for Comcast. And we're here today to present the basics of that document, which has been available and is available, and then to have any discussion and most importantly, to hear if there's anyone from the public who has a question or would like to make a comment about that license. So with that, what I'll do is I'll put the summary of the license on the screen and I'll go over it. And just for information purposes, I note that the corporate entity that Comcast provides service through in Peabody is Comcast of Massachusetts 3 Inc. They have different names for different entities in different places. They're all under the rubric of Comcast Corporation, and I will refer to them as Comcast today. So let me put on the summary. Oh, and I guess I need to still be able to share. Is that Beth or is that
That's me,
Jim?
Attorney
Okay,
Solomon. Yep, I should be able to.
share.
I'm going to make you co-host. You should be able to now. I'm
Oh,
hoping.
there goes. Okay. So let me put up the summary and it should be here. Okay, and that's goes November 19th. All right. Um, so the the current license ran from November 2015 to November 2025, a 10-year license. That's the maximum term of years that's allowed under Massachusetts state law, which is 10 years. And in fact, a 10-year license, in my judgment, is in the interest of the city. There'll never be a better time to negotiate a license that meets the needs of both parties, but importantly meets the needs of the city, the cable needs and interest that help support PEG access, public educational government access, community television, and uses the city's public way in a way that is beneficial to the city residents and businesses. So, in my judgment, 10 years is in the interest of the city, just like when you get a long-term mortgage for 25 years or 30 years, it makes sense at the time because you lock in a good rate. We want to lock in something that works now and for the next 10 years. Cable subscribers, just to show at the end of 2024, and that's the date that the municipalities get from the state, that they get from the cable company, the number of subscribers as of December 31st of each year. At the end of last year, the Comcast cable subscribers in Peabody were 10,680. The year before, 11,748. The year before, 13,048. So those cable subscriber numbers have gone down. They may or may not stabilize. We think they can. People who streaming's great, but they keep on raising the rates. Cable has a lot of benefits, um, and most importantly for, I guess, the company, but more importantly for the funding, the community television. While the cable subscriber numbers have gone down, the gross revenue of the company has not materially gone down because of extra services and unfortunately sometimes price increases. The support for community television, Peabody TV, remains at 5% of gross revenues. And it has a broad definition of what gross revenue is. So importantly, that includes both advertising revenue that the company gets for its cable service here in Peabody and home shopping, a smaller amount, that those are included in gross revenues. There's no exclusion any fees they charge to their subscribers, that's part of the revenue they get in, and uh, upon which the 5% franchise fee, what has to be paid to support community television, is applied to that gross revenue number. And that's the most important definition in the cable license, and it's a strong definition for the city and a fair one for Comcast. And appreciate Comcast cooperation on getting to on having an excellent definition that works for both parties. Capital support. That's in addition to the operating support with the franchise fee. There's capital support in the license. That was the major area of negotiation between the parties. And I'd have to say that I say this sincerely. I work in a lot of places. There's no one place I have to work. Is that I've never worked in a city or a town with a manager administrator where the executive, in this case, the Mayor Benincourt, was more involved in understanding and frankly negotiating at all critical moments because we were part of his team and he was part of our team, negotiating uh, personally that peg capital number because it is of such importance to Peabody TV and to the residents of the city. I work across the Commonwealth, and I say that if you show me community television in a community and show me a good program, and I'll show you a community that works for a local economy to connect the government to residents and residents to community groups and throughout. There's none better than Peabody TV, and most important to them and to the city was this capital number, which is $1.60 per subscriber per month. Uh, and how was that reached? Well, the former license had a dollar number, $1.2 million. That was a number we negotiated around here. But at the end of the day, it turned out that each party had an interest in getting to a number based on the per subscriber amount. That a specific amount was critical, and that $1.60 reflects really the work of your city officials. PEG access channels, very, very important. You'll now be, as I understand it, only the second community in the Commonwealth where Comcast is going to be providing three high definition PEG access channels. The city and Peabody TV currently have three PEG access channels. We negotiated around that number, but at the end of the day, when it uh, became known, and frankly, through the work of Peabody TV and Jim Palmer and Camille Bartlett, that Comcast was open for the first time in 20 years to having not just one HD channel, which they've been offering since 2018, 19, but potentially more if the deal makes sense from their perspective. The city was able to negotiate three high definition channels, which will come within 24 months of the effective date of the license. Uh, Comcast has the right to reclaim the three standard definition channels that exist if it'd like to do so at the time. Uh, so that's critical. High definition means, not only is it a better picture, but for instance, for government programming, when the government channel's on and there's plans that are being shown or diagrams or spreadsheets that the viewers will be uh, likely able to have see those documents when they're placed on the screen directly or even indirectly, making meetings and coverage of those meetings remotely uh, far more effective. So, second, the Commonwealth, really important that was achieved, and a great credit to the Peabody TV in the city. PEG video origination cablecasting, where you cablecast from, uh, that will continue to be cablecasting live from the critical sites. That's the city hall, the high school, and the middle school. And if the city so chooses, within 24 months of a notice would have to be given within a year, the Region Senior Center. In addition to that, if there are other locations, the city has a right to ask Comcast or to build it, and Comcast would be required to build it at the cost of the city or the Access Corporation. None of this involves taxpayer dollars. Um, and importantly, the city PBDTV has the right to build their own video return lines. And there the city has an advantage with its light company, which runs fiber. There are all some other companies out there that do an excellent job at running fiber. So this is a living document that says, yes, there are four critical buildings now that have fiber connections. There are other places now where PBTV goes live over the internet or wireless. But if there's a need for a new building to be added, and there is one building now, the public safety building being built, then we have a mechanism to do that in a very cost-effective way. Cable service availability. This can be taken for granted because your license has always had the requirement that everyone, every resident, every dwelling unit has to have cable service available, or if they don't have it, they can get it. There are a lot of places, including cities that are dense, that have density requirements. You have to have a certain number of dwelling units per mile, whether it's aerial, another number for underground. Peabody continues to have the work of the city for 40 years, and its able councils representing him for those years has a requirement that all residents have to have cable service available. Cable service to public buildings. I'll just say there was a change that the FCC made to a interpretation of the Cable Act that would allow a cable company, if it so chose, to take the marginal cost, which is a small increase, how much more it costs them to provide cable service to public buildings, including schools, and to put that toward what they pay as 5% of gross revenues. The good news is that Comcast doesn't do that. Comcast was not, in fact, did not even, as a company, argue that that should be the interpretation when it was before the FCC. And that's frankly because Comcast is an excellent cable company. I work with across the Commonwealth. There's none better. I mean, you have an excellent second company, but there's no one better than Comcast doing what they do. And for a corporation, they try to be fair. So in my judgment, it's unlikely that Comcast, after 40 years and having offered to provide cable service at no charge to public buildings when they first wanted to be in the public way in cities and towns, including Peabody, it's unlikely now, 40, 45 years later, they're going to say somehow Jimmy and Sally are going to continue to get cable service in schools for education, that there should be a cost to the city of Peabody. They don't do that. I don't expect them to do it, but the license recognizes that the FCC allows them to do it, even though I don't expect that. The side letters, the senior discount continues to be $2 off of Digital Starter. We all know that's a very small amount. Sometimes they kid around. They say, I get a better discount in Ann and Hope, Bradley's, Caldor, and Zaire. But that's a joke. But uh, but and I don't represent the cable company, but it's a senior discount is voluntary under the law. It can't be required. There are a lot of companies that don't provide cable companies that don't provide senior discounts. Comcast does and continues to provide it. So for that, I give them credit. We all would like to have a larger discount than $2. However, there are two aspects of this senior discount that build on what the city already has, building on the good work of others. And that is, all senior discount requirements letters have a financial requirement that it's not for every senior 65 years and older, but there's certain ways you can qualify for the discount. The new letter adds additional means of qualification. What I don't have here, but fuel assistance, I don't believe that's in the current discount. Secondly, the property, elderly asset and income abatement for property. If your assets and income or a certain level and you're a senior, state law allows a an abatement uh, on the town level. If you qualify for that, you would qualify for the Comcast senior discount and also Supplementary Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP. If you, evidence of that, you can get that discount. And also, I didn't list here, but the current letter has sort of what used to be in the form letter that Comcast could at any time change its mind and not do the discount. And to the great credit of Comcast, and I really, frankly, to the excellent work of their government affairs representative, who was just really understood and tried to find out the needs of Peabody and its residents and community television. Um, Carrie Morris, that this letter, at our request, does not have the provision that they at any time they could take it back because we felt that, you know what, you want to give it, we appreciate you give it, you're a good company, and people will misread the intent of that. So this letter does not say that. Kudos for Carrie to be able to get it over the top at her end. And then finally, we have a letter on PEG access, one issue. The electronic program guide. As you know, cable has an electronic program guide. You can see what's going to be on cable. You can set your recorder to record it. There's a great benefit, so you don't have to be watching all the time or figuring out, when program's going to be on. Uh, Comcast currently, except for one island, does not provide an electronic program guide. It's a challenge for them because it goes in their head end, and their head end has many different cities and towns that have very different programming. But what Peabody cared about was that if like with additional HD channels or the initial first HD channel change in approach, Comcast, which at times is working on this electronic program guide for PEG community television, if they start to offer that in 2 years or 3 years as part of their license renewal, we don't want to have Peabody and its residents have to wait to 2035, 10 years, because companies oftentimes will say, well, if we're going to add something, we usually do that at the renewal time. So again, to the great credit of Comcast, they provided the requested side letter that says, hey, the city can ask them to come in and speak with the city, speak with the mayor, and about whether it's not only technically feasible, and financially feasible, but also about doing it here in Peabody. So that side letter provides, I believe, real protection to the city that it's not going to be left behind if this change occurs. That allow the city to say, all right, we won't make that a red line in our negotiation because we have faith that Comcast, if it changes its approach to this and figures out how it technically can and wants to do this, will provide the same service for Peabody. So that, folks, is the license and the side letters. In my judgment, very strong license. Really reflects what the city and the commission, which is, as I always say, and no smoke here. I work across the Commonwealth, as I mentioned. There's not a cable committee or commission that does more work, more detailed work on behalf of the city subscribers and residents than the Peabody Cable Commission. As a result of that work, and again, Comcast being a fair negotiator, I view this as a strong license, both in terms of its financially in a reasonable way supporting community television and protecting the financial, legal, and property interests of the city of Peabody. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Can I jump in for a moment, Beth?
Of course, yes.
So, yeah, I just wanted to say that I admittedly did not know very much coming into the process, but I was able to learn a lot about the license, about the operation, and it was very helpful to me. And my focus during the process was really on supporting Peabody TV so that they can continue to have the capital in order to continue their important work, their great work that they do for the city. That was front and center for me, as well as knowing the importance in our community of people watching the PEG access channels, particularly our seniors and families. We wanted to have the high definition rather than the standard definition. Those were kind of the front and center for me, to make sure that we got something that PBD TV was comfortable with. We looked at a number of different options, and we felt good about moving in this direction with the $1.60 per subscriber. And really, I really wanted those HD channels. I felt that was important for our public and for the people in our community. So, as well as a few other things, the senior discount certainly, and some other things. I know Comcast is constantly a work in progress, and I'm very fortunate. I want to thank the commissioners for continuing that work that they do, kind of being our eyes and ears with Comcast. And I wanted to thank the PBD TV team, Camille and Jim in particular, for their help during the process. And Bill was excellent. I want to thank you, Bill, for your guidance along the way. And most importantly, I want to thank you, Beth, for kind of keeping things running and moving. I feel good about it, bringing this forward and having Comcast locked up for the next 10 years. Still a lot of work making sure that we hold Comcast accountable and checking in on things. And I know it's not a large group that we have with the Cable Commission, but I actually feel really good about the people that are here, very knowledgeable group, and I'm very fortunate. And I appreciate everybody's work on that. So I'm happy to answer any questions as well, but I just wanted to add my 2 cents after Bill's report.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
Through the chair, if I may. Jim Palmer from PBD TV, and I just want to echo what Mayor Betancourt has said. You know, a huge thank you to Mayor Betancourt for his efforts throughout this whole process, to Attorney Solomon for guiding us through the negotiation. You know, Camille, myself, the rest of the PBD TV team, we are very excited for what this license will bring us for the next 10 years. We are, you know, we're thankful for Comcast and all the work that they're doing to make this all happen. And like I said, we're excited and can't wait for things to start to move forward under this new agreement. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to the commissioners as well for your help in reviewing the document. You know, Kevin, you were there certainly for some of the meetings. And again, I can't say thank you enough on behalf of the team.
Thank you. So, Mayor, do we, Beth, do we have any members of the public who are on? I don't.
Nope, you're just reading my mind, Attorney Solomon. So
Okay.
there's no one in the attendees area, no one from the public that has joined at this moment.
Okay. So where I see the process going then is and by the license has been, no license has ever been more carefully reviewed by so many people since maybe 1789, and that's a real tribute that things that are not normally caught have been caught here, and so thank you. So I believe, Beth, I made the very last change you sent me maybe 45 minutes ago, just one word, and that's great. So from my perspective, the license is ready to sign. It's dated. The effective date tomorrow. Well, actually, let me just take a look. Well, actually, the December 1st. You know, take a look at. Let me just take a look here. Well, I don't think because we would need to make sure. The 20. Let me just go to this 1 second. Okay, no, it is right. Correct. November 20th, tomorrow. So my recommendation would be that if the mayor is available tomorrow, he signed the license tomorrow. He can send me the signature page. I can approve it as the form, so that tomorrow we could send it to Carrie Morris of Comcast, and Carrie can get the signature of the Comcast official signing the license. And the 2 side letters, there were minor updates on that. I'll email Carrie tonight when I send her the updated license with the 1 change to it, if she would be kind enough to again resend the 2 side letters, And with that, I think we'll be uh, executed tomorrow. Typically Comcast will send that license to the state, and that's fine. They like to do it for their purposes. We'll get a copy of that, be filed with the DTC. So with that, you know, I think we're all set, unless there are questions, and I'll follow up after this meeting on those documents, and I'm available tomorrow if anyone has any questions or comments.
That's great. Thank you, Attorney Solomon. Are there any questions from anyone here?
Yes, Beth, through the chair, it's Kevin. Did we correct the edit on renewal term being November 2025 instead of 202?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's all I had. Very
Okay,
good
that's neat.
job.
Thank you. All right. All right. So I guess with that, uh, we're ready to sign and move ahead. And I think the mayor said, and wise words, a cable license gets signed, but the important part is what PPTV does together for the community in the city. But it's making sure that, as the commission does, it follows the license. It looks at the gross revenue reports, which I know that PPTV does, monitors things so that we can ensure that the things that have been promised are done. We're fortunate to have Comcast, as mentioned, in that regard. But by the same token, this is the living document that the city wants to continue, as it does, to monitor and look at. And I think that'll be the road for the years going ahead as PPTV improves and expands its programming.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you. Have a good night.
Good
You
night.
too. Thanks.